If I was in my 20s again, I really wish that someone would have sat down and told me these 5 lessons. Not that I would have listened to them anyway, because I was young, naive, and trying to find my own way through life and learn things the hard way. But what I should have done is taken advice from older people that have lived and breathed that 20s period and taken a few nuggets of their advice. Now that I have lived them, these are the 5 things that help me shape my life, perspective, and purpose. Number 1, travel more. When I was younger, I had a lot of early influences for traveling. My stepdad would be going away every year to various countries around the world, various different continents. I was at school at the time and I got left at home. But the stories that I've heard, the photos and everything, the souvenirs that was given back to me really sort of sparked that interest in going abroad and trying new things and experiencing different cultures. When I was a bit older, 19, 20, started going out to a few European countries, but it wasn't until about 24, 25 where I really took that leap outside of Europe. And that's where it really changed the game and opened my eyes. The food, the culture, the way of living. Never would I think that I would walk down the road and see a guy with a family of 4 on the back of his motorcycle with shopping hanging off each side of his bike, riding one-handed with no helmet and a machete in his hand, just coming back from the daily foraging, I guess. But some of that stuff is a real eye-opener, and you don't get to see that in England. Some of the night markets are spectacular, especially in places like Southeast Asia, some of the best places in the world for some street markets. The scenery, the architecture, the people, everything really opens your eyes to how other people live their life. It's life-changing and perspective-altering. And once your mind has been opened this far, through seeing different countries around the globe, it really opens the question, where do you want to live and spend your life and your days? Is, for me, England the place where you want to stay? Because I don't know if it is anymore. And all of this is thanks to travelling. Do it. Confidence builds by doing. Travel can teach you the same lesson. You land in a country, you don't really know where you're going, you don't know the language, you don't really know what the currency is like, you don't know the exchange rate and how much that money that you have is how far that's going to get you, where to go for food, you don't know what the food is like. You're kind of lost. But the only way to go through it and experience it and make the most of it is just by doing it. And that's the same for anything in life. Confidence isn't often the thing that you go into the thing with. It's something that you pick up after. Once you become more proficient in whatever you're doing, that's when the confidence comes. So, fake it till you make it. And then when you go into it, there's things that takes us by surprise or catches us off guard. And there's things that we don't expect that crop up. And once you realise that, your confidence just evaporates and you end up in that valley of despair. Fear kicks in, imposter syndrome, all those negative thoughts in your head thinking, I can't actually do this. I've bitten off more than I can chew and I didn't think it would be this hard. Maybe I should just give up. Do it anyway. Put a muzzle on your inner critic inside that's having that negative voice and just take some action. You may not be so good at it. You may fail. You may do a not very good job. But only through doing that and learning them lessons are you going to get better. And by doing it and getting better, that's where the confidence will come. So do it first and get the confidence later. And if you made some strides along the way, make some good progress, did some good things, acknowledge that. Praise yourself. Give yourself a little pat on the back, because that's what it's all about. It's all about that growth mindset. It's all about the journey. So we need to acknowledge when we do the right things, because that acknowledges the path that we are on and that we are making strides forward and taking the right path. So celebrate it. Every time you do something without the confidence, maybe you're even scared, you're building that character. You're building up the person that you want to be, taking those steps forward. But here's the thing, doing this for the long term is only going to really work if it's doing something worth doing. That's what takes me to my next point. Do what you enjoy. Making progress in the wrong direction isn't so good, and you realise that later in life. You really need to focus on what you do want to do and take action in that, with or without the confidence. This was one of the lessons I learned the hard way in my 20s. I took a degree because it was a lucrative salary promised at the end of it, and it was something that a lot of people I knew were doing and making good money from it as well. But I didn't like it. But I saw the money, saw the dollar signs, and decided to take the degree anyway. 4 years, and then it was only after going through that, completing the degree, and then trying multiple different roles in that field after my degree, I realised I can't do this anymore. Big mistake. I should have listened to my inner self and saved myself a lot of money as well. And if you don't take a path that's enjoyable, you may just find yourself burnt out in about 5 or 10 years because you've tried to tolerate it for so long, but all of a sudden it's become intolerable. And if you do know what you enjoy, figure out how that can support you financially. If you're good at it, get better at it. Find out how you can monetize it, where the demand is, try and interlink them together and make it work for you. Make it part of your day-to-day life. Like a lot of us, we don't necessarily know from an early age what that thing is. We have to try some things out and really find out what actually is the thing that we do enjoy doing. And I encourage you to do that. Try new things. Because if you don't know what you do like now, you might definitely know what you don't like. And by trying new things and realizing what you don't like, you will fall into something that you do like. And then you can look to try and monetize that. Now, doing what you enjoy every day is a real good form of self-care. It lowers the stress, improves the vitality in your life. The next thing I want to discuss is a more literal form of that. A lot of people tend to hold this off. They either never get around to it or they hold it off for longer than they should do. And that's exercise. Exercise isn't just something that improves your body and how you look. It improves everything up in here as well. And the later you go on in life and the more you exercise, you realize that it actually affects you more here than it does in your body. There's a reason it's prescribed for people with depression, because it does so much for you up here. So I'd advise you to start young, build that foundation early, build up the habit of doing it, and go into the gym when you don't even want to go to the gym. That can build up your resilience. And just notice that after, it doesn't even take too long, to be honest, a few weeks to a few months, you start noticing the changes physically on your body. They tend to come first. And then you notice, people might talk to you differently or look at you differently. Self-confidence improves. And all of these start to have a compounding effect on your day-to-day life. And start young, because you're going to need this foundation that you will be building through your 20s as you go to your 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond. It doesn't even need to be complicated either. It's whatever works for you, whether it's, strength, cardio or sports, yoga, whatever. Just get something in, get some sort of physical form of exercise in. Don't dwell on the past. What's done is done. I used to replay old situations back in my head, things that had happened in the past and things I didn't like the way that they'd turned out, and dwell on them a bit and really wish that I'd have done something else or said something another way. But it's done now, and there's nothing I can do to change that. So why don't we just focus on the things moving forward that we can change? The only things the past negative experiences are good for are learning from. Otherwise, useless. Don't dwell on them. We can take them lessons that we've learned and take them into the future and move forward with them. But don't just sit and dwell on them. So I could have probably listed another 20, to be honest, but these are the main 5 that tend to stick out for me. If I'd have had these 5 lessons in my 20s, it would have saved me a hell of a lot of pain. Trust me on that. A hell of a lot of pain and money and time. But I am where I am, and sometimes things just happen in their own timing. But I hope to provide these lessons to someone out there, some of you out there, that can adopt these lessons from an earlier age, and as you are maybe midway through your 20s or approaching your 20s, or even on the back end of your 20s, you can put some of these lessons into use and get a bit more value out of that time in your life. No matter how old you are, let me know in the comments what lessons you would give people that are in their 20s or approaching their 20s, and how they can better their lives during that period. Maybe there's some that I might have missed and I can adopt in my 30s.